These are the games of our lives, these are the days of our lives, and these are the times of our lives. And that is what the Bishops management will be telling their players. Welcome to the oldest rugby field in South Africa, the Paarl Reese, the sacred ground. It's Paarl, who are second in the country despite their loss last week against Sachs, taking on Bishops, who are flirting with a top 20 place in the country. We're going to be set for a cracking encounter here. Like I said, Paarl, they'll come out firing. They've got their captain back. And with me today is a man who's played against the Barbarians at Twickenham. He's played SA 7s. He's played SA Under 21. He's played Super Rugby for the Cheetahs, the Kings, and the Sharks, and Edinburgh as well. With me is Andries Strauss.
Hi Justin, thanks. It's great being here today. Must say it's an absolutely beautiful setting to sit and watch rugby at, and really excited to see what the boys can do today. Bishop's alma mater of Springboks, Robbie Fleck and Francois Lowe, and they have a keen eye on this match, especially because Paarl is just littered with Springboks. You've got Andre Pollard, Skalk Burger, John de Villiers, and Marius Joubert, a couple of the ex-boys play Springboks from Paarl, and it should be an exciting encounter.
Definitely, Andries. And you know, Paarl, last week they were winning 19-0 at halftime, ended up losing 22-19. It was an incredible performance by Sachs. But having said that, they were missing one key player, their captain, their SA Schools player, their Craven Week player, fullback Miller du Plessis, who is one of the best schoolboy rugby outside backs in the country in the moment, and he could have a massive impact on this comeback performance for Paarl today.
Yes, definitely, Justin. I think the gym boys will be hurting after last weekend's loss against Sachs, and regardless of who's on the field for them today, they want to just fix that and come back with a vengeance. And Miller du Plessis is an outstanding young rugby player, and Paarl, as always, they've got a cracking backline. They can use the ball when they do get the opportunity, and that pack of forwards has been really solid during the season. So it should be a great encounter. And then Bishops on the other side, they want to build on their season, and a team that doesn't like kicking the ball, so it should be an exciting match.
And also, if we just look at the team's current forms this season, both sides have lost 2 games. Arguably, Paarl have had the tougher road because they've played 6 teams in the top 20. With Bishops, they've played 4 teams in the top 20. But this might give Bishops some encouragement. Not that they would look too much into it, but they did draw against the team Sachs, who beat Paarl last week.
Yes, so it'll give them some confidence, and also the fact that they're playing in the home field, it should give them a bit of confidence to take on this gym side. But having said that, it's a new match this weekend, and both teams are going to go out there and want to win this match. And these youngsters play with a lot of pressure on them. These days, a massive emphasis is put on schoolboy rugby, and the success of the school is almost made up by the success of the rugby side. So they'll look to come back and really work hard for this win.
Not to drift too much from the schoolboy setting, but Andries, you've on a number of times you've been on the underdog team. I remember when you went out to New Zealand with the Cheetahs against the Hurricanes about 5 years ago, coming from behind from 25 points down to winning the game, and then also when you were with the Kings, when you took on the Brumbies in Australia and beat them. Is it, when you play for an underdog team and you're the captain of an underdog team, how do you rally the troops to make a piece of history happen? Because that would be the case here for Bishops today. Yeah,
I think the key element in that regard is to make sure that the team has clear instructions and they've got a clear idea of what they want to do, and the team should just stick by it and believe in what the systems can do for them. I think when you play with the underdog tag above your head, it takes off a bit of pressure, and you get the freedom to go and express yourself on the rugby field, and that's what I'd like to see today from the Bishops boys, to go out there and express themselves, to use the skills that they've been taught, and just to play some rugby, because at the end of the day, that's what we want to see today, to see a couple of boys play some rugby and enjoy it.
Also, if we just look at the history of the fixtures between the two sides, they've been playing since 1929, and arguably Paarl have dominated since then. But over the last 5 or 6 years, Bishops have won twice, both on Paarl Reese. And in fact, 2 years ago, the final score was 35-32. A winning try by Cornel Smith, the Bishops playmaker, in the far left corner of the field to win the game. So, judging by that, we should be in for a cracking encounter. And, if Bishops have any chance here today, they've got to do what they do best, and that's running rugby, Andries.
Yes, the wind is blowing a bit today, and when they play into the wind, that would count in their favour. It allows them to keep the ball in hand and not kick it away. And by doing that, put the Paarl Gym defence under a bit of pressure. And I've always believed that the best way to put a team under pressure is to keep the ball in hand and to force them to make as many tackles as possible. So I think this wind that's playing today will be playing to Bishops' favour. Having said that, the Gym boys have just been outstanding during this season. Even though they've lost 2 matches, they're still a rugby team that plays with the ball and they use the opportunities quite well. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens out here today. I'd expect Miller du Plessis, Daniel Beekers, when they have the wind at their back, to use it to kick the ball into the corners. But that plays right into Bishop's hand, who'd like to run from their own half.
And also, if you just look at the 2 losses from Paarl Gym against 2 great teams, great college. You went to school there. That's a tough team to go and actually overcome. The score there was 31-19, and then they lost to a great Sax team. So they're still second in the country, and it's going to be very, very difficult for Bishops to try counter that beast.
Schoolboy rugby has become so competitive over the last couple of years. Like I said earlier, the massive emphasis is put onto the schoolboy rugby scene in South Africa at the moment, and the teams are just pulling closer together. You don't have these teams that run away with matches anymore, apart from Boys Eye, that is by far the flagship schoolboy rugby team in South Africa. The rest of the teams are really bunched close together, and every weekend any side can win the rugby match, and that makes it really exciting.
And that's the beauty of it. You really don't know what is going to happen. And I keep going back to last week, but it was such a historical moment for Sax. But I mean, at 19 points lead for Paarl Gym at halftime, and then all of a sudden, if somebody told you it was going to be 22-19 at the end of the game, you'd be, hang on, that's impossible. And that's what schoolboy rugby can bring to the game. The supporters, they don't know what's going to happen. You see running rugby, you see lots of tries, and hopefully we're going to see something like that today.
Yeah, Justin, like I said, we'd just want to see these boys go out there and express the skills that they've been taught, to run with the rugby ball, to get those passes away, and just to enjoy themselves. I think we should not forget that this is just a sport, and most people play it because of enjoyment, and that's what we want to see out there today. And coming back from 19-0 down in any game, it's not over until it's over. We saw the Ikes boys come back from 20 points down in the last 5 minutes in a Varsity Cup matches a couple of years ago. It's just exciting. This game can throw you a curveball, and hopefully we see something good today also.
Just speaking on, the game is not over till the final seconds, and that's actually what Bishops did last week against Wynberg away from home. They were winning 19-6 Bishops. Then with about 2 minutes to go, the scores were 20-19 to Wynberg, and then Ross Goodwin, the scrum half of Bishops, scored a scintillating try to cap off the victory at 24 points to 20. And I think that just shows as well, it's not over, like you said, until the last second.
It will give them a bit of confidence knowing that they can come back from behind, and having the ability to keep the ball in hand, creates opportunities for them to score tries in any part of the game, any time of the game. And Paarl Gym, like I said, big pack of forwards, exciting backline. They will be challenged today by a team that keeps the ball in hand, and that's exciting. That will be good to see. And as the crowd start coming in and the clouds start coming in, it looks like it'll be a great cracking of a game.
Pretty lucky. During the week, they were predicting some rainfall during the time of the game. There is a monster storm hitting the Cape, thankfully, next week for some rain. But today, it just seems like it's going to hold up, hopefully, and we're going to be in for a cracking game of rugby. Just some updates on the team sheets. Ruben Scholz started for Paarl Gym last week against Sax. Herman Beekers, who started at fullback in place of the injured captain Miller du Plessis last week, has shifted to fly off. And for Bishops, it's an unchanged 15. Interestingly enough, in this fixture last year, Arden Paarl was 45 points to 10 to Paarl Gym. But that doesn't have much significance because there's only one player in the Bishops team who played in that fixture, and that's captain number 13, Robert MacDonald. So he has a final crack at the cherry, really, or final bite of the cherry before he matriculates to maybe get a send-off against Paarl Gym and remember it for the rest of his life. On the Paarl Gym side of things, they've only got 2 players from that last fixture. Miller du Plessis scored a cracking try in that fixture, and then also number 8 Henko Martins, who Andries has scored 13 tries already this season. He's scored 3 hat-tricks, can you believe it? I mean, for a schoolboy player, number 8, he's going to be one to watch out today.
Definitely, he's an outstanding player. Watched him play a couple of weeks ago. Strong ball carrier and also has good feet on him, and he should be a player to keep an eye on, not only today but for the rest of the season and into looking into the future. As you said, Miller du Plessis, outstanding youngster playing in fullback today, and then Chris Rousseau at hooker for Paarl Gym, also a decent young player. Peter Rousseau, coach of Paarl Gym. Justin, what do you think the message should be today?
Well, quite frankly, I believe he was watching the game last week from Japan, because he's on assignment there. So it must have been, I don't think he probably could have believed what he was seeing last week from 19-0 up. I'm not sure if he's back, but there's definitely would be a lot of messages to the team. You know, forget about last week, come out firing, and sometimes a loss can really change the season, Andries.
Yeah, sometimes a loss can galvanise a season, and it forces you to go back to the basics and start building, the core values and the culture of the team. And definitely after a tough loss like that, Paarl Gym would have gone back to basics and started rebuilding their season. Like I said earlier also, just because you've lost one game in a season doesn't make you a bad rugby side. They're still an outstanding rugby side, so is Bishops, and it's just exciting that so many of these teams are so closely competitive that you don't know what's going to happen, and that's exciting for rugby in South Africa and for schoolboy rugby in the future.
Especially when you're playing on the oldest rugby ground in South Africa, Paarl. First game that took place on this field was in 1892, Sax versus Bishops, a long time ago. And can you believe it? We're still sitting here today with this picturesque background, and we're a few minutes away from kickoff. It's going to be a fascinating encounter here.
I've actually never been here, Justin. It's my first visit to Bishops, and they're just outstanding. The field looks in pristine condition. The scenery obviously is just outstanding, and being the oldest schoolboy rugby field in the world is special, and I think it's something these boys can be proud of.
Most certainly indeed. If we just look at the Bishops team, one of their star players is actually Ross Goodwin, who has been playing on the wing for Bishops, but 2 weeks ago against Durbanville, William Rose, the normal number 9, dislocated his shoulder, and as a solution to that, Ross Goodwin has been drafted into scrum half, so he's had some game time. He played last week against Wynberg at scrum half and actually scored a double, and like I said earlier, scored the winning try. But the rumor has it is that he was invited to Western Province under 18 trials a week or so ago, and he told the selectors that his actual natural position is scrum half, but they seem to ignore him. So let's hope maybe the selectors are watching this game and see what he can do.
He'll have a point to prove today then, and no, it's just important for youngsters to stick to the position that they want to play, and to develop their skills in that specific position. And it'd be good to see Ross Goodwin go out there today. I've heard good things about him, and as the boys come onto the field right now, crowds getting up. It's almost kick-off time.
And I'm sure you would have seen Bishops come out from underneath the poles. I think they've been doing that since 1892 as well. Paarl Gym are coming from the stands, and we're almost set here to go. Paarl Gym look like they're on fire. There's quite a breeze here on Paarl as we await kickoff. Bishops will be roaring to go. Also, interestingly enough, both hookers, Caleb Kenny, he has scored 8 tries this season. He scored 4 tries against Durbanville. And Chris Rousseau, I like to call him Sunnyball Chris. He has scored 7 tries, and he's also got a mighty offload. So it's actually amazing how the hooker position is developing. If you look at Dane Coles, for argument's sake, for the Hurricanes and for New Zealand, sometimes they're a powerhouse player of the actual team, and they're everywhere on the field. Yeah,
the hooker position has developed into the 4th loose forward, and the more mobile you are, the better off you are, and it's something we've seen in the Lions. Marks is just a massive young boy, but also very athletic and can throw the ball around, and I think that's the future of the hooker position in rugby at the moment, is for them to be mobile, good skills and all over the field.
So we're ready to go. We're underway. Herman Bierkus with the kickoff, and Tim Sharples gets knocked back, and it's an early knock by George Spencer. So Paarl immediately have the advantage in Bishop's 22. It's vital that they get a good start at the Paarl race. And here's the big man, Daniel Wessels. And they swing it away. Here's Chris Rousseau, son of Chris Rousseau, World Cup winning hooker in 95. Herman Bierkus flings it away. Miller Duplessis, great hands there. Number 11 is in, and that's Hanko Hanekom, who didn't play last week. What a start for Paarl.
That is just an ideal start for Paarl to this match. They've got the win in their backs and forced an early error by Bishop with a good tackle in the right-hand corner there. And then, Miller Duplessis has just shown his class right from the outset. Good hands to put away Hanko Hanekom in the corner there.
Very good start there for Paarl, as Herman Bierkus has a chance to stretch the lead in the opening minutes. Didn't kick last week, even though he played. Ruben Scholz was kicking last week, so it'll be interesting to see how the youngster does. Can he make it 1 out of 1?
A lot of intent shown by Paarl in the early exchange of this match, Justin, and if we have to go on what we've seen in the first 2 minutes, it's going to be a cracker match today.
Herman Bierkus is going to have to hurry up there. Sorry, Daniel Bierkus. He's only got a minute to kick. Can he keep his concentration? And that's drifted wide. 5-0 to Paarl in the opening minutes. And that was a result of errors there by Bishops off the kickoff. Andres, what will Bishops be looking to do off this kickoff?
Well, they just look to consolidate after that mistake, try and get the hands on the ball. I'd expect them to try and kick this deep and try and get the hands on the ball to start playing some rugby. It's a good start and a good take by Paarl.
Did you see who was kicking off there? The hooker, Caleb Kenny. Can you believe it?
Must be full of skill.
And now look at this rumbling tank up the field. This is Paarl bread and butter as they look to approach the halfway line. And that's gone down. It looks like it's advantage to Bishops, so now they have a chance. What can they throw at Paarl? First real chance for Bishops is Matthew Norton, flings it away to Labuskachny. And here's Robin McDonald, the captain, taking it up, leading by example. Ross Goodwin, the winger who's playing scrum off, and it's all over the place at the moment. And that's Reese Meyer picking it up there, doing well. Aiden Labuskachny doesn't decide to kick. This is running rugby by Bishops, but they're not really going anywhere. Paarl's defense is fronting up. Spencer is on Labuskachny's outside. And there's Ipsa, and here's Felix Burtz crashing it up.
Already the Bishops showing their running intent here, and Paarl doing outstanding to get off the line and make the tackles on the other side of the advantage line. And knowing that Bishops don't like kicking, they can put a full line of defence in the front line and put pressure on them.
And Goodwin looks like he's going to go blind, and it's a penalty. And there he goes, the tap and go by the Nuggety scrum off. He has scored 7 tries this season, and he's firing away. Bishops have plenty of numbers on the right. Labuskachny stepping and darting over the halfway line. Andres, decision time.
Well, traditionally you want to kick to touch here and put the Paarl boys under pressure, but we don't know what we're going to see here. Outstanding running intent shown by Bishops once again, and again we've got the hooker Caleb Kenny going for touch with what might I add quite a decent kick into the wind there.
It's very surprising. I can't remember when last I've seen a hooker who's done the restarts.
I think the last hooker to kick was Uli Schmidt in the 1990s. It's just good to see skills all around.
Now he goes to throw in the ball as well. So Caleb Kenny, it's vital that he finds his line-out jumper to put some pressure on Paarl. And there's Matthew Norton, good take by the number 7. As Bishops look to give Paarl a taste of their own medicine here with a rumbling maul. Up over the 22 it goes. The Bishop supporters going ballistic. Here's Labuskachny. And here's George Spencer, King George. He's a big, powerful ball runner. Here's George Spencer, also a try scorer. Felix Burt, the vice captain, crashing it up. And he's met some stern defense there from Paarl. Paarl Jim not panicking, Audrey's.
Yeah, definitely. I think Bishop's putting Paarl Jim on a lot of pressure by keeping the ball in hand, and that's exactly what we want to see of them. Good run by George Spencer up the middle there, and again you can see the ball in the hands of Caleb Kenny. He just seems to touch it all the time. Another kick into the corner, and we can expect him to have another go at this maul.
Well, it can be said that Bishops, even though they don't have a score on the board yet, they are backing their running rugby, and that was shown by Ross Goodwin, who has made the outcome of this play in the Paarl Jim 22. As Caleb Kenny sets up the lineouts, looking to find his jumper, and Paarl Jim have got the turnover, and that's a get out of jail card, but it's been lost forward, so it's a scrum to Bishops. Good result for Bishops on it.
It's a good result for Bishops. Quite lucky going for the back ball in the lineout in these windy conditions can't be easy, and enough confidence to have a go and try to set that up. But this is a good result for them. First scrum of the match, and I think Paarl Jim, having the weight advantage, will want to put Bishops under a lot of pressure here.
If Bishops can deliver off the scrum, it'll really put the pressure on Paarl Jim, and it'll give them a sense of the belief that they can make something happen here today. Ross Goodwin is going to feed.
Here's an opportunity for Ross Goodwin on the right, down the right-hand touchline here, with Paarl Jim only defending with one player this side with an 8-9 option, and his speed down the touchline would be a good option for them.
So that's gone down. Andries, what is your view of the scrums in the modern game today? It takes a lot of time out of the game, and we've just seen a reset now as well.
Justin, your guess is as good as mine. Being a backline player, I've got no idea what happens in the engine room. But like you've said, it does take up a lot of the time, but it is important to keep player safety first, and that's what they're working towards, and hopefully we can see scrums settling down in the near future. I think it is a part of the game that in the professional era, but in the Super Rugby, we've seen a lot of time spent on the scrum, but also saved during the season. So, but like I said, I've got no idea what happens in these scrums, mate.
And neither do I. So, can they get it right this time? Goodwin in his natural position, scrum off a few years back, and they're getting mounted, and it's a free kick to Bishop. So what do? Goodwin's there. Almost looked like he wanted to take it quick, but they're going to settle it down. Here's Caleb Kenny, and here's Aidan Neal, the big lock forward, crashing it up. So Bishop's in the 22, and that's a loose pass gathered by Norton, almost the intercept there. James Ipser is caught in the attack, so Bishops have lost about 20 meters here, Andries.
Yeah, Paarl Jim again doing well with and that's a kick over the line and a chase. Did he get it down? That's a knock on just before the line, and I must say, Justin, that's a get out of jail free card there for Paarl Jim. You know, just lauding them on their defense, and obviously knowing that Bishops won't kick a lot of ball. They've got the full line defense in the front line, and then Bishop seeing the space in behind and almost making good use of that.
But I think you got to give it to King George there. That was a wonderful piece of vision. It was an unlucky ball there for him to take, and it would have been a king try if he noted that down.
He just needed one more bounce to get that in the hands and to make it 5-all. And you know, Bishops, they've shown great attacking intent in the first encounter, and here we've got Paarl Jim. They showed their intentions in that first scrum, and let's see what happens off this.
So can Paarl Jim get their bread and butter working here at scrum time? And it's looking like they're deciding to run it here off first phase. Are they going to clear? Janse van Rensburg at scrum off sends it to Daniel Bierkus, and Rhys Meyer has to gather it back, and he could have a go here, Andries. He has James Ipser.
This is their bread and butter again. Broken field play, Bishops with the ball in hand, and this is what they want to do. You know, Paarl Jim will have to make sure that when they kick out, especially with a win at their back. And again, here we've got Bishops just keeping the ball in hand and making and forcing these Paarl Jim boys to make tackles.
So here come Bishops looking to put the hammer down. They got numbers on the right, and it's been picked up by Matthew Norton, the flanker. Paarl Jim struggling with possession in the early exchanges, and that's very interesting. It's a turnover, and here goes David Killerman, the 2-try hero from last week. So Paarl Jim on the attack here, plenty of numbers. Bierkus flings it away. So here come Paarl Jim now. And here's the SA Schools player, Miller du Plessis. Not scared of the dogfight in the center of the field. And good hands there by Daniel Bierkus. And it's advantage Paarl Jim. Andries, here's Ludik, the big man.
Paarl Gym and Bishop showing that they're not just an attacking side, but also a good defensive side, and making some good tackles, and just forcing the Paarl Gym boys to think of something else. Good carry there by Paarl Gym, and now there's space on the blind side here. Miller du Plessis into space. Good offence once again by Bishop.
See that offload there almost from Chris Rousseau, a little bit unlucky. And here's Daniel Bierkus trying to spot a hole through Bishop's defence. And Paarl Gym have a second opportunity to register some points here. But it's very scrappy, and Dean Navote has lost it forward, so Bishops will be loving that. They've got another chance now to lodge an attack.
Yes, they will, and Justin, they would take a lot of confidence from that defensive display just now. It's the first time really that Paarl Gym has had the ball for an extended period of time, and I think their defence held up quite nicely. Paarl Gym forcing the turnover from Bishop in their counter attack, and that's something they'll have to keep an eye on to make sure that they keep that ball retention going. They want to get this ball in and out of the scrum as soon as possible, because Paarl Gym has got the ascendancy in the scrum.
Well, with Bishops off this, you never know if they're going to run or kick, and Ross Goodwin is under pressure, but it's picked up by the 8th man, Felix Burt. Can he get the offload? And he's lost it forward. So Paarl Gym now on the counter. Good play from Navote, and there's Miller du Plessis. Weird pass there. And here's Stravino Jacobs on the right wing. Tons of pace. Does Stravino Jacobs have? And on the far right-hand side of the field is Paarl Gym. And here's Staples, the tight head prop, crashing it up. Janse van Rensburg at the ruck, and it's slow here, Andries.
Big Adrian there. Good pass out the back, slightly missed with a good run there by Francois.
Francois Marais, he's a big ball runner as well. Look at the offload. Yes, Daniel Bierkus, and yes again for Henko Hanekom. What an offload to Daniel Bierkus. Good defense though by Bishops, but it's play on at the moment.
Turnover ball for Bishop right now, and they want to just kick this out and resettle.
That was great play there from Hanko Hanekom with the offload. He's having a stormer considering he didn't play last week.
He's had a good couple of first minutes. Hanko Hanekom scored a try, good offload, and I like the look at Daniel Bierkus. Also had a couple of good touches, good passes, and put some boys into space.
So it's going to be Chris Rousseau to throw in. Bishops pretty much under pressure here, 10 metres away from their line. Andries, Paarl Gym will just look to probably maul this ball over and crash it over, use their bread and butter.
They'd like to use the weight of Adrian Ludik and Reino Bierkus in that line out to secure that ball and then maul them over the front. A good maul set by Paarl Gym, just moving sideways for the moment. Bishop's doing well, and now they're getting some traction going forward is Paarl Gym. And a try score by Paarl Gym.
And who's coming up with it? It looks like Corne Ace, the number 7, if I'm not mistaken. Paarl Gym have the advantage, sorry, at 10-0.
Number 8, Henko Martin scoring that try for Paarl Gym, and this will be their bread and butter. They've got the wind at their backs, Justin. I'd like to kick it into the corners and use their big pack of fours to drive the Bishops boys over the line.
Can you believe it? Henko Martins has scored his 14th try of the season. And Daniel Bierkus has a chance to convert it. So advantage Paarl Gym, 2 opportunities, 2 tries, Andries.
Yeah, they've used the opportunities quite well, and I think Bishops will be slightly aggrieved by that, because they've played all the rugby thus far and they've got no points to show for it. And Paarl Gym have had 2 opportunities and they've used that. Henko Martin's 14 tries in 1 season, not too bad.
Great result. I think a lot of players would be pretty happy with that after 6 or 7 seasons, especially if you're an 8th man. A lot of wind.
Wind making it tough here for Daniel Bierkus. The kicking, he's got someone there holding the ball for him. And let's see if he can succeed with the second one.
Almost the equivalent kick, but this time actually dragging in. And that's a good kick by Daniel Bierkus. So it's 12 points to 0 in the opening 15 minutes. Paarl Gym utilising their opportunities, Andries.
Definitely, Justin. They've played quite well when they had the opportunity to play with the ball in hand. And like I said earlier, Bishops will feel aggrieved because they've played a lot of good rugby but no points to show for it. Let's hope they can get their hands on the ball again and entertain us.
Look at that restart by Kenny. I think Dan Carter would be proud of that. And here's a chance now for Bishops. Goodwin, Labuskachny, George Spencer, and he'll crash it in. So what can Bishops do? Can they counter? Penalty to Paarl. Paarl will probably look to clear here. They're in the advance, Andries.
Yeah, Justin, like I said a bit earlier, Bishops will have to look after their ruck ball, and if they want to play with the ball in hand, they can't afford to give away these turnovers. Ball not kicked out there by Paarl, and again, Bishops on the counter attack. Backing themselves there is Matt du Plessis.
Good run by him, very good run. What can they do? Oh, what an offload by Justin Mother. And here comes the scrum off, Goodwin. High tackle in him, and the ref's got his hand out, so penalty advantage. Here's Felix Burt, the 8th man, crashing it up. And they come blind through Aiden Neal. It's a big man, the number 4. Goodwin looking to get it out, and it's a penalty. And here's Labuskakni taking it quick. What can he do? And he beats one. What an offload. And here comes King George again. And that time a little bit too optimistic. And here comes Miller du Plessis. And here's Chris Rousseau. What can he do? The hooker finds the try scorer, Hanko Hanekom. What can he do? He's still going. How has he hang on to that ball? Hanko Hanekom, what a run by the left winger. And Paarl again on the advance here, but it's a turnover. Labuskakni. And flings it away to King George in his own 22. And he's under pressure. So Bishops in their 22, really under pressure here, Andries, and it's a penalty to Paarl.
Penalty by Paarl. Really did really well off a turnover ball earlier. Loose pass by George Spencer, and Paarl taking advantage of that and forcing the penalty in the 22-meter line of the Bishops boy. And looks like they're going to have a quick tap here.
It's Chris Rousseau telling you now, Andries, he has something up his sleeve. Here they go, and he finds his tight head prop, Adrian Staples, the Vincent Koch lookalike. And look at that, back on the inside, exciting stuff, but it's obstruction, penalty to Bishops.
Penalty to Bishops, and they'll count themselves like a quick tap by Bishops, again showing they're attacking a team. George with a good pass out to the...
This is beautiful play by Bishops. They're not letting the scoreline dominate them at all as they approach halfway line, but it's a penalty to Paarl. But you have to say, Andries, that was good play by Bishops.
Yes, sometimes it's better to keep the ball in hand, to run it out of your 22, especially with a wind like it is today. Again, Paarl just doing well to turn that ball over at breakdown. Good run by number 8, Hanko Martins.
They got lots of numbers here, Andries, if they can capitalize. Shavino Jacobs gets the offload. It's a loose pass. And here's Kenny. Kenny can have a run. Oh, look at that. The fans love him here on the Piley Reefs. Caleb Kenny. What a player. Labuskakni. Matthew Norton, and what a pass to King George again. Look at that offload, but it hasn't found hands. And Bishops still have it, can count themselves lucky. Oliver Mac Roberts with the pass to Labuskakni there, the prop forward. Goodwin likes these fringes, does Ross Goodwin. And yes, Felix Burt almost looked like he wanted to have a kick there. There was some space downtown. And here's Aiden Neal, again, getting through plenty of carries. So Bishops, they've had a lot of ball, and can they capitalize? Spencer, and that's a big hit. Yeah, they go down the left wing. And Andries, this is pretty interesting. Paarl have scored 2 tries, but Bishops are showing attacking intent here, really.
They do look good with the ball in hand, Justin. They're playing quite well, and they're forcing the Paarl boys to make a lot of tackles, and that will count in their favour come the end of the second half. And really impressed by the skills of these players, and young Ross Goodwin looks like a really good scrum half.
Can you believe he didn't start the season at scrum half? And it's amazing sometimes what things like that can do. A winger coming into scrum half, it can change anything and everything.
Definitely. Again, we're looking at a Paarl scrum here, and they've had the ascendancy, Justin, and it's a good attacking opportunity for them from the right-hand side of the field.
So they've got acres of space here. Does Paarl, what will they do? Will Miller du Plessis feature in this line of play? And that's a scrappy pass from Janse van Rensburg. A little bit of a mix-up. And Francois Marais has to clean up the rubbish, and my goodness, he's done it well. So Paarl, numbers on the left. So they fling it away and they crash it up the centre. Janse van Rensburg wants quick ball. Staples, the tight head prop, looks like he's got a bag of tricks as well. Does the prop forward. Boy slow, settling down. Here's the number 6, Dean Neervoet, crashing it up. So they're over halfway now. Daniel Bierkus, dummy, show and go. Bierkus, beautiful play. Here's Henko Martins. This is simple stuff. And Miller du Plessis, captain fantastic, scores. Brilliant play there from Martins and Bierkus and du Plessis, Andres.
That was great play by Henko Martins, and Daniel Bierkus has set that up with a massive dummy to his left-hand side and took the opportunity, put Henko Martins into space, who in turn put the flyer Miller du Plessis over the try line. It's an outstanding try scored by Paarl Jim in the closing minutes of this first half.
You almost got the feeling there from the initial line break they were going to score. They made it look so easy, summed up the situation beautifully, and they have a chance now as well to even stretch that lead further with the kick to come.
Yeah, a special exhibition of skills out that we've just seen. You know, good passes, good running lines. You know, Daniel Becker showing the ball and taking the space in front of them, and then good running support lines from Henko Martins and Miller du Plessis.
So it is 19-0. Paarl will be hoping that they don't have a sense of deja vu, Andres, because this was the score last week at halftime and they ended up losing.
Yeah, you'd hope that they learned from their mistakes last weekend, but they do look like they're the superior side at the moment. Like we said earlier, Bishops have been playing all the rugby, but Paarl Jim's defence has held up, and they're very good at ruck time, turning over the ball, and in turn putting Bishops under a lot of pressure. Another good kick there by Caleb Kenny.
So Paarl Jim really executing on the chances that they have. And yeah, they go through Daniel Wessels, who played in the under-16 Western Province Academy last year, and they look to work that blind side, Paarl Jim. And there's Staples, he gets involved as well. So Paarl Jim, the momentum is really with them at the moment. Daniel Bierkus and Henko Martins having a field day, and Jas Jacobs popping up at fly-off. And Bishop trying to get the turnover through Kenny, but that's hands-on, so penalty to Paarl Jim.
Yes, Paarl Jim definitely having the momentum on their side at the moment, and Bishop's just defending for the last 10 minutes. You know, Caleb Kenny there making a good turnover, but deemed not to have released the player before he went and played the ball. And it looks like we've got Reno Beckers down injured at the moment.
That will be a blow for Paarl Jim. And look at this wind, my goodness. And our Bishops have a chance through the fullback, James Ipsa. Now what can he do? Ipsa having a go, what a run by the fullback. And unfortunately that ball's gone forward. So Paarl Jim have the scrum.
Paarl Jim with the scrum right where they started. The wind's making it extremely tough for these boys to kick, and I must say Bishops do look comfortable with ball in hand. Let's just hope Rona Beekers isn't injured too badly over there. Is that him?
It's actually Chris Rousseau, so he's a star player. Paarl Jim will really need him for the rest of this game.
Looks a bit uncomfortable, Justin. Let's hope that he can get past that.
I think his dad will just be telling him to run it off.
He's tough
against the All Blacks.
Another great attacking opportunity here for Paarl Jim. They've got the full width of the field to play with on the left-hand side here. You know, they've got Miller du Plessis in space on the left-hand side of the field here, and also the strong hand pass coming off the right.
Janse van Rensburg, Bierkus with the switch ball to Francois Marais, getting over the advantage line. Good play by Paarl Jim. And they've lost it forward now. Bishops have a chance on the right if they can get quick ball. And here they go. Can they sum up the situation? What
Great
an offload. And here's Reese Meyer. He's got Ipsa on his right, but he decides to chip Miller du Plessis. Not cleanly taken, but it's a penalty to Paarl Jim. Very lucky there by Paarl Jim.
Miller du Plessis taking a quick tap there and seeing space on the right-hand side of the field. And now it's getting exciting, Justin.
Look who's got it there. Henko Martins, the try scorer. And Janse van Rensburg, interesting option there. And Bishops now have a chance to counter. And here's Matt du Plessis. What can he do? And it's a good run by Matt du Plessis. Had a lot of work to do there. As Bishops look to come up with something. Labuskakny and Felix Burt crashing it up. Labuskakny, Spencer, he'll have a go. But he's met hard in the tackle. This is good defense by Paarl Jim. Bishops trying to come up with something. Matthew Norton slips the pass to Justin Mother. And Paarl won't mind this because Bishops are not going anywhere, but it could happen at any time because Kenny's got the ball. Caleb Kenny, what a run, sir.
Caleb Kenny is an exciting player, and every time he touches the ball, something seems to happen.
And yeah, they go. Bishops still got it. They like to work the fringe sides of the field, and it's advantage to Bishops. And here's Goodwin back on the inside. Can Bishops come up with something before half-time? They've got an opportunity here just outside the 22. Labuskakny, Norton, Felix Burt. This is wonderful stuff by Bishops, but they need to capitalize. Goodwin, Labuskakny, and this time he crashes it up. He's also not scared to take it up. And Goodwin, he has a chance. The scrum off. And good defense by Paarl. Bishops with all the ball here, Andres. They need to capitalize.
They have to capitalize on it, get them points for the work that they've done, and they do look comfortable ball. Great tackle there by Paarl. Off it into space. Lots of space on the left-hand side of the field there if they can get the ball through the hands. George, right through the middle.
Wonderful run there by Spencer, and it's a penalty. Decision time, Andres.
Yeah, it is a decision time here for Bishops. They've got the momentum. Quick tap is inevitably what they're going to do. And
it's Aiden Neal, the big number 4.
Still have space on the left-hand side of the field if Ross can get at that side. Oh.
It's a loose pass though, unfortunately, and here's James Ipser. So he has to tidy up the rubbish. And he's still going. He's quite electric. And then Sharples loses it. Penalty advantage though. Paarl need to be careful here, giving away quite a few penalties inside their own 22.
And that's it. It's a referee just had a feel in his pocket, and he's given a yellow card to Stravino Jacobs. Now repeated infringements by Paarl, and again, Justin, that's what pressure and keeping the ball in hand does to the opposition team. You force him to make tackles, you force him to make mistakes, and the rewards will come.
And Andres, the thing is really 19-0, it sounds like a big margin, but if Bishops can score before half-time, it'll only be a 12-point ball game possibly, and that will still give them a sniff.
Yeah, 12-point ball game if they can manage a try with a win at their back second half.
Look at this, Aiden Neal, and he's got the try. Aiden Neal, I think it is, and that is magnificent. That is running rugby by Bishops at its absolute best. A little maneuver there off the line-out.
That's fantastic to see, the confidence to go to the back of the line-out in this wind. A good offload from the top of the line and a great run by, is that Felix Burt or is that Aiden Neal to crash over the line and score the try. And Bishops will be motivated by that. They're trailing by, 14 points with a kick to come. Half-time whistle blows. They'll have the win at their backs. It'll be a lot tougher for Paarl to get into their half.
Well, I'll tell you what, Andres, this is going to be very interesting. I know Caleb Kenny's been taking the kickoffs, but last week he was also taking the kickoffs, but he wasn't kicking for Paarls. James Ipser was kicking for Paarls, and Kenny, the hooker, he's going to have a go. So can he bring it home for his team?
I must be honest, the previous time, or the last time I've seen a hooker kick a goal at schoolboy level was in 2003 when the ex-Springbok captain Adrian Strauss used to kick at Paarls for Grey College. And he was quite good at it. Let's see what Caleb Kenny can do. And I must say, every time he's touched the ball, something good has happened.
He's a lefty as well. He must be a natural, this boy. Kenny then. It's a good strike. That was a good strike, Andres. A little disappointing for him.
He must be gutted. I think he backs himself to just do anything he puts his hands to. I must say, exciting play is Caleb Kenny. Good with ball in hand, great skills obviously. The confidence to go to the back of the line out in these windy conditions. Exciting young prospect.
Also, you get that sense when players not really going anywhere. If he gets his hands on the ball, anything can happen with Caleb Kenny.
Paarl looking something special. Yeah, Hanko Hanekom switching to the right-hand side of the field.
They want a return score before half-time. But they're fine. George Spencer got through an awful lot of work, has Spencer. And he's met solid defense there by Paarl. So Bishops just need to make sure they don't leak any points here. And it's very contestable. Decision time, Andres. Will they go for goal?
I'd like to think so, Justin. I think if I was in this position, I'd take the 3 points and settle the game down. But you never know what will happen in schoolboy rugby. It does look like they Well, it looks like that is Chris Rousseau with his hand on the ball, and they're going to go for a quick tap. No, coaches intervene, and now we've got Daniel Beekers indicating he'll have a shot at goal. Justin, I think that's a smart decision. Bishops have had, the momentum for the last 5 minutes, even though Paarl Gym is leading 19 points to 5. But they've been under pressure for the last 5 minutes, and just to settle things down, Daniel du Plessis could pop this over and they can restart.
And then it'll be a 17-point ball game as well. It would mean that they would have to score 3 tries to overcome that deficit, so sensible option. As Bierkus lines it up. Should be able to do this any sleep is Bierkus, and he makes no mistake. 22 points to 5, and it looks like we have a few seconds to go before half time. Anything can happen though. Bishops can come away with the score.
We have to keep in mind, Justin, that Paarl Gym's playing with the wind at their backs at the moment, and Bishops, they have to just try and hold on to this match, keep themselves within striking distance, and they should have a chance to fight their way and claw their way back into the game in the second half.
And look here, Bishops have got it back now, so they've got a chance. But have they secured it at ruck time? That is the question. Goodwin, he thinks so. He's got it. Labuskakni, Spencer. He's got Ipsa on his outside. What a remarkable offload there. It's gone back. And Spencer, he's still got it. His inspirational player is King George. And here's Norton. And that could be a deliberate knockdown possibly, but it's play on. Bishops don't care. Ross Goodwin. Goodwin going for it. Can he go all the way? Still going. What a run by the scrum half. And Tim Sharples has got it.
Great offload in the corner there, and great tackle again by Miller du Plessis. And that's what keeping the ball in hand does for you, Justin. Find a little bit of a space there by Bishops, and let's remember, Paarl Gym playing with only 14 boys on the field.
Exactly, and that's where you got to actually execute those gaps. And Bishops have a chance now to really get some more points before half time here and really make the game on in the second half.
We've got the Bishops boys getting behind their team, standing up, and the atmosphere over here is just picking up in the last couple of minutes, Justin.
And especially when Ross Goodwin makes a break like that. He's been doing it all season. And the Bishop supporters absolutely love him. Singing for days here on the Paarl Reese. Felix Spirit having a go. Inside border, Spencer. Good run by Spencer there. So Bishops are 5 meters out. He has the try scorer, Aidan Neal again. He wants another.
Another penalty going towards Bishops here. And again, Paarl Gym must be careful here. They've won one once or twice already. They've got one man in the bin. They don't want to have another guy on the touchline.
And it's Kenny. Give it to Kenny is the call. He's almost there. Surely Bishops, they need to capitalize now. They're a meter away. And look who's trying to go for it. That's Mother. And the ref signals obstruction. Or accidental obstruction. So it's a scrum to Paarl Gym. Getting away there, Andres.
Getting away with murder there. Yeah, they can count themselves lucky, Justin. Unfortunate, the Bishop's boy just turning into his own player there to try and get over the line. Accidental offside is the call. And Paarl Gym would want the solid scrum of theirs to just consolidate and use the win to get out of their half.
I think the scoreline at the moment, it is 22 points to 5, but if you didn't see that scoreline, you'd actually think it's pretty even at the moment. Bishops have just been unlucky not to get a few more tries, Andres.
They have played well. Bishops have done really well with ball in hand. Unfortunately for them, they've turned over a lot of ball at ruck time, and I think Paarl Gym has done well in that regard, where they've put a lot of pressure on the Bishops rucks. They've slowed the ball down a little, and they've just made it a bit tougher for them to play. But having said that, all these Bishops players look comfortable with ball in hand. They use their feet to get into space, and they've got a really good passing and offloading game going.
So, team's just taking their time. Ref looking around before the scrum takes place. And will we see a twist before half time?
We just have to remember that they've got no right wing on the field at the moment. So whoever kicks this ball, Daniel Beekers or Miller du Plessis, I presume, they have to make sure that they find touch, because they won't have the right wing Jacobs chasing after that. And Bishops have looked really dangerous with the ball in hand, especially on the counter. Just sorting out the referee's mic on the far side of the field there, keeping us busy, but this should be half time after the scrum.
Andres, back in your day, did the refs have microphones?
Definitely not at schoolboy level, no. They didn't, but the game's evolved so much over the last couple of years, and it's for the better. The touch judges, who are now called referees' assistants, they're just as much part of this match, and rightly so. They have to be connected to communicate.
So, crucial scrum for Paarl Gym to make sure they don't give any points in. And look at this. So, as before, they decide to crash it up before clearing. And now they're going for a cross kick, a kick pass that's scored in New Zealand. And look at this. And that ball's gone forward. And the ref signals scrum down to Bishops.
Justin, that's very unfortunate. That was a great option there by Daniel Beekers, and a very good, well executed kick. And unfortunately, Hanke Hanekom, he's been outstanding today. Just couldn't hold on to that. He still had Miller du Plessis on his outside, and with a clear line to run into. And well, having done that, they've now given Bishops a chance to score before half time. Remember, 15 against 14, and they'd like to capitalise.
I think they've been watching Bowden Barrett quite a lot with the amount of cross kicks that the Hurricanes have scored this season. And Bishops, final chance now before half-time. We're on the 35th minute. And Ross Goodwin. Good scrum by Bishops, their best of the game. Labuskachny, Spencer. And this is good play, but it's gone forward by Spencer. Upset as the ref signaled half-time.
Looks like we're going to have another scrum here, Justin. Unfortunate there for Bishops, just holding onto that ball for a bit too long to George Spencer, and a forward pass to his captain Rob McDonald. Both of them have looked good during the match, but I must say, the midfield of Jim have done well defensively. Francois Marie and David Kellerman have been outstanding.
They've been strong all season. Kellerman getting a double last week against Sachs, and Francois Marie, strong runner. So Janse van Rensburg, and they're going to go blind here. Henko Martins picking it up. The prolific try scorer for an eighth man. Janse van Rensburg. And he finds Daniel Wessels, the loose head prop. My goodness, get out of the road. Janse van Rensburg. Beekers glides when he runs, and it's been gathered by Bishops now. So, they might have the final say. Good movements around the fringes there as Bishops look to mount some pressure before half-time. Norton, and yes, Kenny again. Caleb Kenny, good run by the hooker. Goodwin. Tons of room here. Spencer. What can they do? Ipsa, this is good hands. Can Ipsa finds his inside. Robert McDonald. This is going to be a wonderful score. That is the try of the half before half-time, Andres. Wonderful try.
Wonderful try by Bishops, and again, keeping the ball in hand. Great passing and running skills by the Bishops players all around, and that's the pressure that's been mounting throughout the half. Just keeping the ball in hand, forcing the Gym boys to make tackles, and found a bit of space in the middle of the field. Then a great try by Rick McDonald.
Wonderful stuff. That is schoolboy rugby at its best, and that's Bishops rugby at its best. Back in the game before half-time. Coaches Richard Smith and Wesley Chetty will be happy with that. Rob McDonald, what a score, son. And it was a remarkable offload from the fullback, James Ipsa. I mean, Sonny Ball Williams would have been proud of that.
James Ipsa has been good also the whole game. Justin, he seems to beat the first tackler every single time, gets his hands free, lanky, long arms and legs, and he just gets his hands free and gets the offload away. And again, George Spencer, Rob McDonald in the midfield, they've been doing well all match, and well, duly rewarded with a good try, McDonald at the end there.
Andres, your take on the opening 35 minutes. It's been an exciting game. At times, Paarl Gym looked like they might have been running away with the game, but Bishops have done remarkably well to get back in this game, and it's a 10-point ball game.
Justin, it's exactly what we wanted to see. We've seen some great running rugby. Paarl Gym coming out from the start, scoring an early try, another 2 tries, and then Bishops fighting back with 2 of their own. towards the latter part of the half. And what we've seen during this whole match is the running intent shown by Bishops. They're quite comfortable with the ball in hand, and just having another look at the try there by Rob McDonald, the offload by James Esther, and that's what they've done all game. They're very comfortable with the ball in hand, and they do have good running lines. And Paarl Gym, conversely, they've got a big pack of forwards. They play the power game, but also have good, young, exciting backs. In David Beekers' 10 has been outstanding. He's played really well today, and Miller du Plessis, even though he's not had his hands on the ball that often, every time he does touch, it looks quite well. Bishops, they'll be smiling after that try because they're playing into quite a strong breeze here, and they'll have it at their backs. And Paarl Gym, they've used their kicking game to get into the Bishops half, and they won't be able to do that in the second half.
Do you think the coaches of Paarl Gym will be a little bit irritated to an extent that Paarl Gym may be getting ahead of themselves? In the last 2 weeks against Sachs, that was definitely the case, but even 2 weeks ago against Oakdale, at one stage, the score was 28-17 with about 2 minutes to go, and Oakdale scored 2 tries and they almost won the game. So,
yeah, they will be. They will be a bit frustrated by the way Paarl Gym have allowed teams to come back into the match. But if you look at what we've seen out here today, Paarl Gym only have had a couple of opportunities, and they used all of those opportunities. By no means have they been dominating the match up until right now. So they still have a lot of hard work ahead of them. I think the focus for them should be to limit their mistakes, stick to their strengths, and try and keep the ball in hand.
We're going to take a break before the next half. It's been a wonderful opening 35 minutes, plenty of tries. It's been a field day on the Paarl Reese, and the best thing is we've got another 35 minutes to go. We'll catch you in the second half. We're almost ready to go on Paarl Reese again. With schoolboy rugby, you never know. Last week there was a 19-point deficit in favour of Paarl Gym, and this time it's a 10-point game. Can Bishops keep up their winning streak at Paarl Reese? Look at that kickoff. It's like he's a fly-off, Kenny. And Adrian Ludick, the big number 4, pure beef, carries it. Good take by the lock forward. Interesting stuff here by Paarl Gym, and look at this. Miller du Plessis crashing it up. Good run by him. Full of confidence. So Paarl Gym, they want to put the pedal to the metal here. And they're still going Starples, working that short side. So Paarl Gym, what can they do? But it's a penalty to Bishops. Andres.
Great start by Bishops, and again, Paarl trying to keep the ball in hand, playing into a stiff breeze. As you look at it on your screens, probably from the top right-hand corner to the bottom left-hand corner of your screen, the wind's coming across the field. And again, what Bishops have done in the first half, keeping the ball in hand against the wind. Paarl trying to do that, and Bishops getting in over that ball and forcing the turnover. Another good kick there by Caleb Kenny. And a feed into the line-out for him as well. He's touched the ball a lot today, hasn't he?
Well, when you're throwing in the line-outs, you're kicking for poles, you're taking the restarts, you're popping up everywhere like a pop-up toaster around the field. He's probably touched the ball about 30 or 40 times in this game. Crazy scenes.
Bishops looks like they're setting up for a drive there with a 6+1 line-out. Ross Goodwin getting sent out the way there, and a backline that's standing really deep at the moment.
Bishop strike next. It's really game on. Norton fumbling it there, and here's Kenny. Oh, look at that step. Wonderful stuff by Caleb Kenny and Matthew Norton picking and going. So Bishop sense they've got a sniff here, but it's a choke tackle by Paarl, but Bishop's has it been turned.
Turnover by Paarl, and great defense by the boys there with a choke tackle in their own 22 there, and just slowing down that ball.
Janse van Rensburg at the base, and here come Paarl now. Miller du Plessis looking to go. He doesn't care where he is on the field, even if it's in his own 22. Paarl have the penalty, so an opportunity for them to work themselves down the field, Andres.
Yeah, good footwork shown there by Miller du Plessis. He does look like an exciting young prospect. Just slowing the game down here, kicking into the strong breeze. Not the best of kicks, just a gain only a couple of meters. With the line-out feed still remain Paarl.
If in doubt, kick it out in this wind. But they still have a lot of work to do here, Paarl. The supporters trying to get behind them. Bishop's doing the same thing. So the ref just having a word with Justin Mother. And
this is an ideal start. It has been for Bishops in the second half. They've put Jim under a lot of pressure and they've forced some mistakes. And yep, good line-out ball there by Chris Rousseau into the back of the line-out, and a great take by number 8, Henko Martins.
Henko Martins, only 2 players in schoolboy rugby this year have scored more tries than him, both from Paarl boys, and Paarl have the penalty.
Bishop's just getting a bit over eager there, and they've conceded 3 penalties in the start of the second half, and they're just making it easy for the Gym boys to kick it further and further away from their try line.
Better kick this time by Miller du Plessis. Decent part of the field for Paarl to do something, and they'll be looking to register the next points here. A little bit slow the start of the second half.
Yeah, it looks like Chris Rousseau is still struggling with a bit of injury at the moment. Doing well to stay on the field. Good line-out ball for them.
Look at that pass by Staples. And now Paarl driving it up, using their big ball runners, and they go blind. Janse van Rensburg finds his lock partner. And here they go again. Bread and butter stuff. Great offload, and here he is. Dean the Voits. Can he smash Ipsa out the way? Paarl have a perfect opportunity to get points on the board. Picked up by corner ace. Still going. Janse van Rensburg. Paarl and here's Adrian Ludek. He's going to go all the way. And that's a great try for Paarl. They score first in the second half on enemy territory, Andres.
Adrian Ludek, a massive piece of meat, isn't he? Hey, he just looks like he's 120 kgs and did really well to get over the line there. Great run there by the loose forwards of Paarl to score first in the second half. Justin Bishops conceding too many penalties in the start of this half and making it easy for Jim to get out of their half.
And that was classic Paarl play there, using their big forwards to get over the advantage line, and then eventually the break came. Managed to feed beautiful passes, and as a result, Ludek crashes over the big man.
Jim doing really well to secure quick ball after the line break.
Oh, it's a charge down. How vital could that prove later? Bierkus taking his time So it's only a 5-pointer. 27 points to 12.
27 points to 12, 15 points in it. Bishop having to score 3 times now to get back into the lead. They'll look to have a better start from this kickoff than they did previously.
Kenny. Let's kick a little bit lower than the other ones he's delivered. And that's a high tackle. This could be tickets for Bishops. They got to be careful. They can't afford to lose a player. Paarl Jim now with a lot of cushion, 15 points. And that's a big run by Daniel Wessels. So Paarl Jim won't mind this. And yes, Starples, the tight head prop, also carries the ball a lot, does Starples, and it's a penalty. So advantage Paarl Jim, Andres, it must be said.
A lot of mistakes creeping into the match here by Bishops. Paarl Jim keeping the ball in hand, forcing mistakes. Not the greatest kick by Miller du Plessis, but doing well to find touch regardless. Now, Justin, Paarl Jim, obviously, they've come back onto this field second half, aggrieved by the late try they conceded in the first, and they've shown great attacking intent, keeping the ball in hand with great carries by their forwards and forcing the Bishops boys to make mistakes. Exactly what Bishops did to them in the first half, they're now doing in the second half to Bishops.
So the Bishop supporters trying to cause havoc at line-out time for Chris Rousseau. So can he block out the noise of the Paarl race? The Bishops players are loving it as well. They're causing a lot of noise trying to get the turnover, but Paarl Jim, it's like they're doing it in their back garden. Yeah, yes, corner ace. Crashing it up. Janse van Rensburg. Miller du Plessis. Wonderful run by Miller du Plessis. He's still going. Remarkable run there. So, Bishops under pressure. Janse van Rensburg finds Starples. Had a good game. Andres has Starples, the tight head prop. And Martins, again, he's a runner. He's a try scorer.
Martins has been outstanding this match. Great carries. So has Starples, and the whole front five have been good in this game for Paarl Jim. Great continuity by Jim in the start of the second half. Loose pass to number 6.
Now there's Dean Nevoet. Runs with a lot of promise. Does the open side flanker. And here's Ludik again. He wants a double. He is a man mountain, is Ludik. And Janse van Rensburg finds Daniel Wessels. So we're going to come back for the penalty. But one gets the feeling that it's going to be a long way back for Bishops if Paarl Jim either score a try here or have a shot at goal.
Yeah, they're forcing Bishops to make mistakes, and they're putting them under a lot of pressure, and they're playing really well in the start of the second half, Justin. Again, forcing Bishops to make a lot of tackles, and they're not keeping up with the pace of the game at the moment. Really impressed by the fitness of this Paarl Jim back of forwards. You know, Daniel Wessels, Adrian Starples, Chris Rousseau really getting across the field, and then Adrian Ludik and Rainer Beekers, they're not slacking behind either.
They really get behind the park, and Starples, he's quite elusive for a tight head prop. Touched the ball plenty of times, as well as, like you said, is Daniel Wessels.
And again, we're in the 5-meter line of Bishops here with a Paarl Jim bread and butter, and probably going to look to set up a driving maul here.
The classic Sherman tank. Oh, they're going to try roll it over the Bishops goal line, trying to build some momentum here, going a little bit, and they might have stolen it. Matthew Norton, that's remarkable. Kenny with the clearance. That is a wonderful kick by Caleb Kenny. Did he play fly-off when he was 7 or 8 years old?
That was a phenomenal kick by Caleb Kenny. He just seems like he can do anything, hey? Paarl Jim, they'll be aggrieved by that, because that maul was looking like it's going to go over the line. It just ripped out of the hands by Caleb Kenny, turning that ball over. And now I've got another line out right in front of the Bishops boys, trying to make it tough for Chris Rousseau to find his line-out jumpers.
Wonderful steal there by Matthew Norton. Blindside flanker keeping Bishops in the game. And Paarl Jim executes off the line-out, and he has corner ace. He's ran hard all day, has corner ace. And Paarl Jim on the counter. Yes, Ludik again. 3 or 4 strong ball carries from the number 4 in the second half. Miller du Plessis is dangerous. And what an offload to Shavino Jacobs. Can he find numbers? And it's been lost forward by Henko Martins. That's probably the only mistake he's made the whole year.
I think it looks like Paarl Jim have identified a weakness in the Bishop's defence here. They seem to go to the same side twice and then switch back, and they're putting Miller du Plessis into space on the blind side, and they've really gained a lot of yards doing that, putting the Bishop's boys under a lot of pressure, Justin.
It seems, I think that is where maybe Bishops are a little bit weak, is on the physicality. So if Paarl Jim can just get their units over the game line, it'll be very difficult for Bishops to stop, who like to play a running game.
Definitely, and Miller du Plessis just trying to find weaknesses between the forwards of the Bishops boys. A couple of mismatches. Decent scrum by Bishops. It's the best of the game so far, and a great carry there by Felix Bird.
Great carry, but he could be in a little bit of trouble here, but Bishops seem to have it back. Labuschagne, George Spencer had a good game, but it's a loose pass and it could be trouble. And I think that's James Ipsa on the far right, cleaning up the dirt. So Bishops need an exit strategy here, and they've got the scrum.
Justin, we just haven't been able to say the names of Aiden Labuschagne, George Spencer and Rob McDonald often enough in the second half. Paarl Jim, they've had the majority of the ball and they've used it wisely, and Bishops, they're just struggling to get their hands onto the ball in the right areas of the field.
So Bishops will be under pressure at the scrum. It's vital that they get a clean scrum because they need an exit point inside their own 22. Will Ross Goodwin have something to do with that? And is it another scrum? Looks like we're going to have another reset here. So Paarl Jim won't mind this, eating away the clock.
Definitely not, and I think those forwards enjoy scrumming by the looks of it. They're doing exactly what they love at the moment. Worth a mention that Trevino Jacobs is back on the field after his suspension. He's had a couple of good insertions into the game since his return.
He's got tons of pace too. He'll be looking to make up for his mistake. And we're going to have another reset here. Bishops, this will really frustrate the Bishops coaching staff and the players and the supporters. They just want to get things going here.
But George Spencer set up at first 5, probably looking to carry it up, but knowing this Bishops side, you don't know what to expect.
And Ross Goodwin really wants a free kick out of this. And that's the third one that's gone down in a row.
Ross Goodwin reminds me of Byron Killer a lot, the ex-New Zealand scrum off, and short, nuggety, strong, fast scrum off, and he does look a lot like him.
Even their face and the hair, it's all there really. What a great player Kelleher was. Very strong and physical. And it was actually, he was pretty unlucky because he played behind Justin Marshall a lot, but he was the second choice scrum off, but he was a wonderful player. Goodwin under pressure, and he's done well there. Here's Spencer this time. Sends it to Labuschagne, and here's danger for Paarl Jim. Here's Ipsa, the man who set up the try in the first half for Robert McDonald. And has he found touch? That is a wonderful kick by Ipsa, having a good game, Andres.
Yes, having a great game, Justin. Again, Bishop doing the unexpected from their own try line, moving the ball to width, which is a great way to get the ball into space, move the ball in width in your own half, and then Ipsa, identifying the space in the back and getting a good kick into the corner.
So now Paarl Jim, they'll be kicking themselves a bit because they had an opportunity to register points and try to get a second score in the second half, and now they're 10 meters away from their own try line and they've got to deliver off this line-out. And their line-outs have been wonderful in this game so far, and there's Janse van Rensburg, not scared to carry it back into the traffic. Here's the scrum off, and Staples had to play half back there. Paarl Jim trying to gain some meters before possibly clearing, or do they have something else up their sleeves, because they got plenty of numbers on the left.
The Bishop's defense just holding out at the moment.
Yes, Jacobs, the man we were talking about, and he's got one abeat, and that's a good tackle there by Matt du Plessis. Very good defense there by Bishops to stop him, Andres.
That was a great tackle by Matt du Plessis, but I must say Bishop would be aggrieved by that, allowing Trevino Jacobs to get into space and run the ball out of his own half. But having said that, we've got Bishops with the ball in hand at the moment, and hopefully can see some attacking rugby from them right now.
Well, they started the first half badly and the second half badly, but they've come back in the late first half, and can they do the same? Oh, what an offload by George Spencer. So, Bishops, an opportunity with the ball in hand. They're going blind. Labeschachny with the chip. It's become a trademark of his in other games. And Ipsa, another offload there. Very talented fullback is James Ipsa. Reminds me a little bit like Jesse Mogg. And here's Felix Burt. Oh, good run there. Bishops, they can put the hammer down here, Andries. But it's a choke tackle. Sacks were doing that against Paarl Gym last week, and it was working. And now they've got the scrum.
Great offence by Paarl Gym. Just having a look at the width on the Bishops attack here, they had Caleb Kenny right on the touchline in spaces, shouting for the ball, and unfortunately, for Bishops, Paarl Gym did well to keep that ball up and force a turnover.
Well, you called it, Andres. You said Christel looked like he was struggling, and he's coming off the field. And if my team sheets are correct, I think it's Glass who's on. But Christel, this could be a blow. 7-try star this season. Scored a few doubles as well, and he's coming off. So Janse van Rensburg feeds. And here comes Miller du Plessis playing and fly off. And that is a great run. Oh, he's very strong. Look at that. A 30-meter bust by the SA School star. And here's Kellerman. Not seen much of the ball, but what an offload to Martins. Trying to get the pass away, and he does. Bierkus. Good play by Paarl Gym. Here's Corne Ace. Crashing it up is Corne Ace. Paarl Gym again with an opportunity, and that's gone forward, so they'll have the advantage. And we're going to come back for the scrum. So Paarl Gym, they're trying to take control of their chances. And they've had the advantage in the first half, Andres.
They've played really well in the second half, Justin. They've come back and they've kept the ball in hand, and Miller du Plessis coming to the game quite nicely. It was a great run by him off that scrum. They're looking like the better team at the moment. As Bishops did in the first half when they had their hands on the ball, they looked like the better side, and Paarl Gym's come back in the second half, and they've shown that they can also play some rugby.
And that looks like Justin Mother is coming off the field, the open side flanker.
He took a massive knock trying to tackle Miller du Plessis off that scrum, and I was surprised to see him get up. Looks like he doesn't want to go off, but safety says that he has to.
So testing times for Bishops with about 17 minutes to go. 15 points behind, and Paarl Gym have the ball. One gets the feeling that if Paarl Gym strike now, it could be a bit too much, Andres.
Definitely, and they've got Miller du Plessis on the right-hand side of the field here with only two defenders in front of him, with Jacobs on his outside. Let's see if they use him.
And they are. Miller du Plessis, a lot like Ben Smith when he runs, glides when he runs. It's a good run by the fullback, Janse van Rensburg, and again it's Ludek, the man mountain, looking to get over the advantage line and put the hammer down. Paarl Gym, 10 meters out. Janse van Rensburg back on the inside to Wessels, but that's ruled forward.
Very unfortunate for Paarl Gym there, Justin, looking quite well and going through the phases. And one gets a feeling that if they had to keep onto the ball for another two or three phases, they would have gone over to score. Miller du Plessis just looking outstanding with ball in hand.
It's definitely one to watch for the future. And who knows, he might be on the plane with the Baby Box next year. Of course, the Baby Box taking on Georgia tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and it's a must-win game for them. Drew against Florence, 23-all during the week. But back to the encounter. Goodwin feeds. Bishop scrum under pressure, and they know they need to run it. They need to play what they know best, and they've lost it as a result. Henko Martins, he could go all the way, Martins. He's hungry, and he's got his second try of the game. 15th try, my goodness, of the season for the towering number 8, Andres.
He's a try-scoring machine, isn't he, Justin? He looks a lot like Warren Whiteley when he has the ball in hands, and a strong, fast player. And and just did outstandingly well to get over the try line there.
My goodness, Andres, if he scores another one, it'll be his 4th hat-trick of the year. I mean, you'd really have to look far, far back, even in club rugby or international rugby, to find a statistic like that. So that would be remarkable if it happens. As Bierkus lines up the kick.
Paarl one gets the feeling they're starting to run away with this game, Justin, and Bishops will have to change their tactics a little, get their hands on the ball if they want to stop this from becoming a massive score. You know, trailing by 20 points, we've seen stranger things happen in the past, but they'll have to start playing some rugby soon if they want to get their hands, or if they want to get into the lead again.
They would have to score 3 converted tries in 14 minutes. Bishops have the players to do it though, but they need a little bit of luck and a little bit of momentum to get anywhere close. Kenny. Still in disbelief, Andres, of the way he can kick. And look at this run. I think that's corner ace. Corner ace and Henko Martins. They really get meters on the meter board. Great runners with the ball in hand, and it's a penalty to Bishops. So will Ross Goodwin look to take it quick? It's actually Matthew Norton, and he finds Aidan Neal. And what an offload, yes, Kenny. Playing like the score is 0-0 is Kenny. They still believe. Goodwin, Labaskakni. Bishops crashing it up.
It's great to see Bishops with the ball in hand again. That's what we saw from them in the first half, and this is what makes them dangerous, their ability to run into space and keep the ball. Good run there by George Spencer.
Goodwin, Labaskakni. And there's a little bit of a kick pass, but the runners aren't there. So wasted opportunity. And here's where Paarl are good. Here's the try scorer, Henko Hanekom. Good run by the left winger. 10 meters away from halfway. And here's Mother du Plessis. And if there's the only thing he's really doing wrong is he's kicking at the moment, but everything else is brilliant from him, and Bishops have an opportunity now, Andres.
Good idea by Miller du Plessis. The execution just not quite there. A lot of space in behind of the Bishops' defence, and they're just coming off the side of his boot, Justin. You know, we're seeing Bishops kicking the ball away more often than they did in the first half, and it's quite strange to see that. But keeping the ball in hand is definitely their strong suit. One just wonders whether they're hoping that the win will win this game for them instead of just backing their skills and keeping hold of the ball. The Paarl forwards also just coming into their own in the second half. They've just grown with confidence, you know, as the second half's progressed, and you're seeing more and more Bishops boys falling off the tackles, and the Paarl boys making more yards, and by doing that, creating some space, you know, for guys like Daniel Bierkus, Miller du Plessis, in the midfield of David Kellerman and Francois Marais that we've not called out quite often today, but we've both had great games.
Certainly. Kenny with the feed. He's had a great day despite the scoreline. He's really run a lot, been involved, and he's everywhere. Interesting throw there, and what does the ref signal? And
a bit of confusion there, Justin.
I was very confused. I thought we were going to go back for another line out. But anyways, good win. And now look at this. Back on the inside of Kenny. Very devious there by
Penalty
Bishops.
advantage.
Norton again, he looks like he likes to take it very quickly. Does the blindside flanker. And Kenny. It's pretty remarkable, Andres. Kenny, he knows what he wants to do. He just picks up the ball and goes for touch. Generally, the hooker stays away at penalty time.
He's got a lot of confidence, and it's great to see. You know, he's got a confidence in his ability, and he seems to execute well every time he touches the ball. Bishops with a try-scoring opportunity for the first time in this half, Justin.
Can they deliver? Could give them a sniff. Could give them a chance. Still 11 minutes to go. 34-12. The ref is sending Bishops players back to the line-out. David Curry is also on the field, the prop. And Norton, good take. Been instrumental in this Bishops side, and they look to give Paarl a taste of their own medicine. Yes, Kenny taking it out. He wants a try. He wants his 9th try of the season. but he's brought down. Goodwin looking to get it out. Bishop still have it. Goodwin's looking blind. Yes, Kenny! And Kenny, did he get it down? Just short, can you believe it?
It's
a try. Who is coming up with it? It's Matthew Norton. We've mentioned his name a number of times, and that's a well-deserved try, Andries.
Well-deserved try for Norton there. He seems to be the option in the line-out. Every time they've got a line-out, it seems to go to the red scrum cap, and that's a great finish by Matt Norton. A try in a crucial time of the game for Bishops at the moment.
Well, Bishops never say die attitude, and that's, I think, even the international sides and Super Rugby sides can take a lot from that, because even though they are far behind, they're still playing like they can win the game.
Definitely, Justin, backing themselves, and that's what you like to see from Bishop, because that is what makes them good, is their ability to keep the ball in hand, and their running and passing skills is great. This is quite an important kick here for James Ipsa. They need every single point if they want to get it close to this score.
Looks like Kenny's coming off injured, and that's why Ipsa has a very difficult kick, left-footed as well, and that's a decent strike. What a kick by James Ipsa, and it's a smile from him as well. He's delighted, his parents will be delighted, and his team will be delighted with that kick.
That was a fantastic kick by James Ipsa. Caleb Kenny also looking a little injured, and that would be a big blow for the Bishops boy if he goes off the field, because he's been the player that sparked everything for them. Only 15 points in this game now, Justin, with another 8 minutes to go.
Well, if there's any chance of a piece of history here, Bishops would have to get 2 quick scores very quickly to just give them a sniff. Paarl can't afford to do what they did 2 weeks ago against Oakdale, where Oakdale scored 2 tries in the last 2 minutes of the game. And there's King George coming to the rescue for his team off kickoff. And it looks like Curry has to play scrum off. And here comes Labuskakni. And Bishops meet the Paarl defense, so they're in their 22. And this could be a turnover here. Janse van Rensburg is at the base, and he thinks it is. No, Bishops still have it. Can you believe it? Yeah, they go. Ipsa with the offload again. And here's a chance. What a run. He could go all the way if he gets the offload. Oh, this is brilliant. This is unbelievable stuff. Oh, this is a try. What a score.
That is a fantastic try by Bishops. And I do think that, the Nightmares will start coming up with Paarl at the moment. Bishops with 2 quick tries in the last couple of minutes. And once again, James Ipsa beating the first defender, getting the offload away, and then great pace shown there by Reese Mayer, I believe it was.
I actually cannot believe what I've just seen. It almost looked like Paarl were going to get the turnover there. Bishops went blind, and it was a remarkable break down the far right-hand side of the field, and what a finish by Bishops. They are back in the game, Andries.
No, it's a rugby match again, and let's not forget to mention a great finish there by Aiden Labuskakni. He still had a lot of work to do, especially after he lost his footing. Good offload here by Reese Mayer.
Wonderful run there by Reese Mayer. Can you believe this? Look here. At times it just looked like they were going to lose the ball. But Ipsa has a shot. Has he delivered again? This time misses. And this was a good finish there, Andries.
Had a lot of work to do to get that ball over the line, and now all of a sudden, Justin, a 10-point game with 5 minutes to go, and this will be a very exciting finish to this match.
Well, I can tell you, the coach of Paarl Holman Sleeman, he'll be a very nervous man, because he knows what has happened in the past 2 or 3 weeks to Paarl. They need to close out the game, Andries.
Definitely, Justin. They'll have to learn how to close out the game, and George.
There could be a twist in the tail here. And look at Spencer. Look at this. Wonderful play by Spencer. Did he get it back? He hasn't got it back. So Paarl have the chance to strike a killer blow here.
A lot of space for Paarl on the left-hand side of the field there.
Janse van Rensburg. Miller Duplessis, he'll have a go. And that's a loose pass, not his best pass. but they still have it back. Hanekom. Staples. Good run by Staples. So Paarl just need to keep their hands on the ball here. It's another good run. The loose trio of Paarl are having a great game. And here's Ludek again. Ludek, he could go all the way. They're struggling to get him down. Ludek for the try line. And he's just brought up Janse van Rensburg. They go wide. Henko Martins looking for a hat-trick. Janse van Rensburg, surely they got a score and it's a penalty. This could be the game, Andries.
A penalty and a yellow card against Bishops, and that should be disappointing, Justin, because just like it looked like they're going to fight their way back into the game. You know, they've given away a yellow card and a point-scoring opportunity for Paarl. I must say, Arjan Ludek is like a meat mountain when he has the ball in his hands.
Yeah, they go. They don't want the 3 points. They want to close out the game to put the scoreline beyond doubt. And it's a turnover to Bishops. What do you make of that decision?
It's not what I would have done, Justin. I think 4 minutes to go in this game, leading by 10 points. You want to just settle down and pop it over the upright. But having said that, that makes it quite exciting right now. 4 minutes to go. Bishops on their own try line, and they should have a go from here if they want to have any chance of winning this match.
3 minutes to go. Bishops need something quickly. Any score will bring them within striking zone. And yeah, they have a go through Felix Burt. She ran hard all day as Felix Burt, the vice captain. And Bishops. Can they produce some sort of magic here? But Paarl have it back. That's great play by Paarl. Miller du Plessis, the captain, leading his team by example. And this is what Paarl do best, using their big runners. And here's Hanekom peering around the fringes. And here's Henko Martins. Also always looks like he tries to get an offload him, and that's been knocked on. And timeout, says the ref. Has something happened here? This could be trouble. Reese Meyer.
Referee just having a word to Reese Meyer. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Oh, it looks like Rob McDonald just had a chat to the captain. Bishop's just giving away a lot of penalties at the moment.
And yeah, they go. They want another try. And it is a try. Who is coming up with it? This is the game, set, and match now, Andries.
Looks like JJ van Rensburg, the Nagani scrum off of Paarl going in for the try there.
Appearing on the wing. Can you believe it? And yes, you are correct. It is Sean Janse van Rensburg popping up on the far right-hand side of the field. Very patient there for the scrum off to be appearing on the wing.
It's just great to see these schoolboys just having a go and having a crack with any opportunity they have. You know, if you look at the professional game, more often than not, they'll just take the 3 points and go back to the halfway line and restart the game. Like I said, they should have done earlier. But their persistence has paid off and rewarded with a 5-point try.
Bierkus. The difficult kick. Goodwin giving chase. And he's missed by quite a distance to the right as Bierkus, but he won't mind that.
Yeah, a very tough kick, straight into the teeth of the wind from this side of the field, and you wouldn't expect anyone to kick it over in the breeze as it is today. That score pretty much puts the game out of touch for Bishops, but regardless, they've made a great effort in playing this game. Paarl's been outstanding, and Bishops been playing really good rugby also.
And it's been a great example of how rugby can be played at its absolute finest. And Paarl, well, they don't want this game to end at the moment because they're running. And look at this. Lots of space. Miller du Plessis. And look at this. This is wonderful stuff. Corner ace. What an offload. Look at this. Brilliant run. And Paarl, they're in search of another second place team in the country. And looking to prove that in the last minute of this game. And Jacobs is at scrum off. Norton trying to get the turnover there. And Jacobs crashing it up. Chance here for Paarl. Hard running. They got loads of numbers on the outside, Andries.
And the Meat Mountain just decided to get the ball go behind him. Good carry there by Francois Marais, straight to the middle. One to beat.
What a run and what defense there by Bishops. But you have to say, Andries, they're looking like Paarl is going to score here again.
They look like they are, definitely, Justin. Great tackle there by Ross Goodwin at the end to stop Marais.
Duplessis. And look at that. Oh, he's met by Norton. Norton's had a cracker as well. What a tackle. Bone-crunching stuff.
Bone-crunching tackle by Norton. I must say, a bit of a hospital pass by the captain Miller to the fly half, Daniel Bierkes. But Paarl doing well to keep the ball in hands. And great offload there by the number 8.
David Killerman. And he just had a bit of a speed wobble there. He would have gone all the way. And here's a chance now to really put the hammer down and put the icing on the cake for Paarl on Paarl Rees, where they haven't won for a few years. Patience is the name of the game. Surely this is going to be a try for Paarl, but a half a meter out. And here they go, Jacobs, and Shavino Jacobs puts the icing on the cake, Andries. Great performance by Paarl in the second half to close out the game.
Great finish by Shavino Jacobs, but probably about 3 or 4 boys standing and waiting to score that try. Paarl have just lifted the tempo in the last, or this whole second half, and Bishops have struggled to hold on onto that pace, and duly rewarded with some great tries in the second half, Justin.
I think it also just shows you, Andries, when a team sticks to what they know best, it generally works out for them. Paarl using their big ball runners to get over the advantage line, and eventually there's space out wide and there's nothing you can do about it.
They've used the ball quite wisely in the second half, Justin. They've not only made use of big forwards to get over the gain line, they've also used their backs to run into space. They've moved the ball in contact quite nicely. They've shifted the contact point every now and again, and they've been rewarded with some great tries and great scores in the second half.
Well, I was almost about to say up off the upright and over, but that's the game. So the final score is 44 points to 24. We've seen plenty of tries here. And as a result, Paarl get their first win at Paarl Rees since 2013. It's been 4 years in the waiting, but we've seen a cracking game of rugby here, Andries.
It was an outstanding match of rugby, Justin, and the scoreline not a true reflection of what we've seen here today. It was quite competitive. Paarl coming out in the first half, scoring a couple of early tries. Bishops fighting back in the latter part of the first half. Second half did not go Bishops' way. They struggled to get their hands on the ball. They gave away a lot of penalties, made a lot of mistakes, and Paarl did really well to capitalise off that, scored a lot of tries, and at one stage it looked like Bishops were going to fight their way back into it, but Paarl probably learned from last weekend's mistake, and they closed the game out well in the latter part of the second half.
And the coaching staff of Paarl will be very happy, because in the last 2 or 3 weeks they've struggled to close out the game, and they actually did the opposite here today. So they've learned from their experiences, Andries, and it was just experience at the end there to get 2 or 3 late tries and really just put the nail on the coffin.
Yeah, definitely, Justin. They did really well, and I must say it was a great rugby match to watch. Great skills showed out there today, and good to see the boys out there enjoying themselves. Like I said at the start of the game, what we want to see of schoolboy rugby is boys just taking the skills that they've been taught and going and expressing themselves on the rugby field, and we saw that in abundance today, especially from the Bishops boys. I must say I was quite impressed by the way they keep the ball. Their passing skills, their running ability has been outstanding, and in the second half, Paarl showed why they're the second best team in the country at the moment. Good running lines, strong forward carries by their pack of forwards. I must say the loose trio of Paarl might have been the difference out here today. They really played well, and they were all over the park today.
Andries, I know you won't like answering this question, but who was your standout player for Paarl? Man of the match performance.
Man of the match performance today is quite tough. It was a really good team performance by both sides. There were players that played really well. I suppose in the Bishops team you had Caleb Kenny, looking really good. Ross Goodwin, Aiden Labuskachny looked great, and the midfield and George Spence and Robert Donald was great, and James Ipsa in the back was outstanding for the Bishops boys. And then the same's been said for the Gym boys. Like I said, I believe the loose trio for the Paarl Gym boys, they sparked the difference for me in this match. Even though Miller du Plessis played well, the midfield was great. You know, Daniel Beckers was great. Like I said, the tight five, you know, the first three boys were outstanding. But for me, the man of the match, Henko Martins, he was just outstanding today. Scored 2 tries all over the park. You know, generated a lot of momentum for them. And well, if I had to pick one, that's the one I'd pick.
And he scored his 15th try of the season as well. So one behind the Paarl boys captain, the number 8. His name is Frank Horn. But who knows, maybe Frank Horn has scored 5 today. So
He probably did. I must say, quite lucky for the rain to hold out for the duration of this match, but wouldn't mind it coming down right now, Justin.
we definitely need it. Just to, before we close, to look ahead, Bishops actually have a tough road in the next 2 games. They've got Paarl boys back on the Paarl Reese next week. That's going to be, it doesn't get harder than that, considering that Paarl boys have not lost for 51 games. They then have a bye, and then they then play Rondebosch, which is a big rival game. Yeah, on Paarl Reese as well. Paarl go to Landbou away, and that won't be easy either. So these teams have a lot to do.
Man, they seem to have tough matches week in, week out, and that's what I said earlier. You know, the gaps between the good and the bad teams have closed in the last couple of years, and week in, week out, they're playing tough rugby matches. Paarl boys next weekend for Bishops will be tough. They're just an outstanding rugby team. They're well coached by Shawnee Rasmus. They've not lost for 51 games because of the fact that they play really good rugby. You know, Paarl going to Boland Landbou, coaches there, Olaf and Dion Carson. They coached well also, and that'll be a tough encounter for them. Boland Landbou boys are a real proud bunch of rugby players, so it doesn't get easier for these boys, and it's just great for South African rugby to see that.
It definitely is great. So, Paarl are just in front of their supporters. And that's the game, ladies and gentlemen. 44 points to 24. Paarl get their first victory on the Paarl Reese since 2013, and their season is back underway. Thanks for joining School Sport Live. It's been a wonderful game of rugby, and hopefully we'll see you next week for another classic encounter. From me and Andres, thank you very much.
Thanks, Justin.